She falls asleep with roses and angels in her hair. Champagne on the table, candles everywhere. But I don't like flowers. I don't like flowers anymore. We once had a big dog, house under the trees, views of distant waters, birds and bumblebees. But I don't like flowers. I don't like flowers anymore. There's a ban upon all rainbows, no long walks for me. The stars can just forget to shine, 'cause I'll never see them anyway. There's an unrecovered sofa picked out of the trash, a wall we planned on painting when we had the cash. But I don't like flowers. I don't like flowers. I don't like flowers anymore.
Welcome to Conversations. Our guest today, for the first of a two-part chat, is the celebrated film and television composer Michael Bacon. Conversations is Lehman College's series of discussions with major theater and musical figures of our time. Welcome to Conversations, Michael.
Thanks, Phil. Good to be here.
What was the name of that beautiful song you were singing?
That's called Flowers, and that's off the Bacon Brothers, the CD. We're releasing a CD almost this week, and this is the CD before, so that was from our fourth studio CD.
What's the CD that you're releasing this week?
Well, it's called New Year's Day, and we're releasing it ourselves. As you know, the music business is a very crazy place to be now because of all the new ways of distributing media. And we wrote all the songs ourselves, we paid for the record ourselves, and we're going to pay to have it distributed, and did this CD, I almost call an FTP site CD, where everybody involved in it, the 5 different producers from our band, all worked in their own little studio rather than us all getting together in a recording studio. So it's a new way of working, and one trades the spontaneity of working together in a live room with the peace of working in your own little studio late at night without anybody looking over your shoulder and with no time constraints that sitting in the same room in a big studio has.
So you're working separately?
Yeah, really, pretty much. The whole CD, I think we were together in a room only 2 days, and we worked on the CD for practically 6 months.
Now, you've scored 12 films and literally hundreds of primetime television shows, and you sing and play songs and write songs. You've done so many different kinds of things. How did you get started? What possessed you ever to enter this crazy business?
Well, I think what started was a love of music, and finding I started with the cello when I was 8 years old, and then at the same time concurrently always played the banjo and guitar and electric guitar and drums. So I always had a classical sort of orchestral experience, and I later on played the oboe. So I played a stringed instrument, I played a wind instrument. And then at the same time, I always had this popular folk rock music going at the same time. And when I got into college, I found that I really wasn't engaged in any of the studies that I was doing in college. I loved playing in this rock and roll band, and that was the late 60s where it was, you know, tune in, turn in, drop out, and I dropped out and joined my friend Larry Gold, a cellist from Philadelphia, in a rock band, and I just have done it ever since.
To you, what are your most memorable works?
I think one of them might be one of the things that you're showing today, called Boy Interrupted, which was an amazing story done by two filmmakers from New York City who lost a child to bipolar disease. He committed suicide, and they did a film about it, and I wrote the score, and that was a...
It's gorgeous. We're going to see it.
Yeah, I'm very proud of that.
On our next show.
And I think on the other side, we opened for, Kevin and I and the Bacon Brothers opened for the band at Carnegie Hall before Rick Danko, who was the lead singer, died. And that was pretty unforgettable. And at the end of the show, they invited us onto the stage, and we sang Hand Jive with them. And you know, they were idols of ours. And to be on the same stage with them and playing with them was a really memorable thing.
You had already been involved in a big-time way in a composing career when you decided to study at Lehman College. What possessed you to study at Lehman College? Well,
one of the things that I love, and maybe I also hate about music, is that you can never know enough. There's a lifetime of, as more you know, the more you realize how much you don't know. And at that time in my career, this is, I think, probably 1992, I felt that I was very weak in late Romantic and 20th century composition, and I was weak in orchestration and weak in music history. And I was reading in terms of my clients, what I felt I should be expected to provide for my clients. So I was reading the local 802, which is our musicians magazine, and I saw an ad, 802 program, Lehman College, and then I saw the name John Corigliano there, who at that time was already one of my idols, you know, mostly because of Altered States. I knew some of his orchestral music, but I was more familiar with the amazing film score that he wrote. And it said that you could study at Lehman College, and it listed some of the courses. And I came up and I met with Dr. Shockett and put in a demo tape, and I was accepted. And I spent the next 2 years being a full-time student and also being incredibly busy with scoring films. And I would come up on Tuesday morning, and I'd get back to my office at about 5 o'clock on Tuesday and start working and put in a full day. And it was hard. I mean, it was, but it filled in a lot of these black holes that I felt were, you know, inhibiting my creativity and hurting my confidence. And writing music has a lot to do with confidence. So I'm always looking for opportunities like this, and I haven't found one as good as Lehman in 10 years or so, but it was a great experience for me.
What do you think you learned from John?
It's probably, maybe osmosis is the best way to think about it, is the man is so committed to music, and it dominates his life, and to be around someone like that, you get to share a certain amount of hours a day with them, whether you're studying orchestration or in 20th century composition or private lessons that we had together once a week. I got so much from him, I can't even really put my finger on what it was, but I just feel like a much better composer and a much better opportunity to earn a living in this crazy business because of what I was exposed to at Lehman.
You grew up in Philadelphia in a very large family, how many kids were there?
There's 6 of us. And
all musical?
Not so much that. It was, I would say my household was, it was unique because in those days, I was born in '48, and that's when my parents moved to Philadelphia. And my father became the city planner of Philadelphia and was very committed that people should move back into the middle of the city. The center of the city should be redeveloped, and the energy from that would spread out. So the first thing he did was move his family from these beautiful, we lived in Chester County, a beautiful house, into downtown Philadelphia. So it was kind of a shock, I think, for my whole family. And we all went to public schools, and we all were brought up that what was most important in life was expressing yourself creatively. I'm not sure that's right or not, but that's what my parents' viewpoint was. So that it was art lessons, dancing lessons, singing lessons, acting lessons. It was whatever you wanted to do like that. not too much in the Little League, not too much on bowling. So it was very focused on creativity, and we were exposed to a lot of music, Broadway shows, early folk, Weavers, that sort of thing. So it was a very eclectic kind of an upbringing, and again reinforced my love for music. And I think it had a lot of effect on all my brothers and sisters, that you took something you loved to do and then you went out in the world and tried to make it happen for yourself in your own way.
It's evident in listening to your videos and your music this weekend. I was struck by the eclecticism of your work. The first piece of yours I'd like to play is an animated short you did, The Man Who Walked Between the Towers, which is about the Frenchman Philippe Petit, who walked between the World Trade Center towers.
So Philippe, that was the young man's name, began a plan to do it secretly. The buildings are not quite finished, he thought. Maybe if I dressed as a construction worker. Early on an August evening, he and a friend entered the South Tower. They got a 440-pound reel of cable and other equipment into the elevator. Took it to the unfinished top 10 floors and waited till nightfall when everyone had gone. Then they carried everything up 180 stairs to the roof. At midnight, on the other tower's roof, two more friends tied a thin, strong line to an arrow and shot it across to Philippe, 140 feet away. It missed and landed on a ledge 15 feet below the roof. Bad luck, thought Philippe. He crawled down to the ledge over the sparkling city and got the arrow. To its line, he tied a stronger line, which his friends pulled back to their tower. To his end of the stronger line, Philippe tied the cable on which he would walk. It was 7/8 of an inch thick. His friends pulled the cable over to their tower, but it was so heavy that it slipped from Philippe's grip. The cable's middle plummeted toward the street, pulling the friends on the other tower to the very edge. Philippe, just in time, secured his end. It took 3 hours to pull the cable back up. Frantically, as the stars faded, they tightened it between the towers. It was past dawn before they were ready. Philippe put on his black shirt and tights. He picked up his 28-foot balancing pole. All his life, he had worked to be here, to do this. As the rising sun lit up the towers, out he stepped onto the wire. Out to the very middle he walked, as if he were walking on the air itself. Many winds whirled up from between the towers, and he swayed with them. He could feel the towers breathing. He was not afraid. He felt alone and happy and absolutely free.
That was brilliant. I have vertigo and I can barely watch that.
I know, it really is scary. It's a very scary story.
Your music is beautiful, and it really enhances the vertigo. And how did you go about doing that?
Well, my process is something that I sort of developed over many years of trying to make this as painless a process as possible. early on when you're making a film, you often can get either storyboards or very rough cut versions of the films. And I will start sometimes a year before the film is finished working on themes, making demos with my computerized music system and playing them for the client so that they get a sense of what I'm thinking about for each particular
While
section.
they're still doing it.
Yeah, so that rather than my score be something that is sort of appended at the end, the score is an organic part of the process of the editing and the writing and everything else. And what that allows me to do is when the film is finally what we call locked and the picture isn't going to change anymore and I'm going to be signed off to finish the music, add the live instruments, that all my actual creative work is done and I can put all my energies into the orchestration rather than trying to still be working on themes and stuff with the client.
So there's no frantic, crazy-making, last-minute stuff that I've seen other composers go through.
It can be very difficult. And the other thing that happens often is the editors will take what we call temp music from other sources that they'll never be able to use, put them in the film, and there's a dynamic called demo love where the directors then fall in love with this temp music and then they say, well, you have to replace this.
Right.
And that can be a very painful process too. So I try to have all the demo music be mine.
Now you write this kind of what I mean by this kind of music is this serious film and television music, and you also do rock and roll. I thought we would hear some of your I believe it's your latest album, Women's Got a Mind to Change, and your brother is singing this one, and he wrote the song. Is that correct?
Yes, this is from the live DVD, and this was we made this about 5 years ago at the John Harm Center in Englewood, New Jersey, on the night of the largest snowstorm in I think the last 25 years. And we lost our dress rehearsal, we lost our sound check, but we had no time to get the whole thing set up, and we did it, and the audience all showed up and came through snow plows, and it was really a fun night. So it was documented, and that's what this is from.
Now we're going to hear this version now, and at the end of this show, we're going to hear your version of the same song.
My take, yeah.
So roll it now.
Please welcome Kevin and Michael, the Bacon Brothers! They say the only sure things in this life are death and taxes. But I don't agree, I beg to differ, 'cause the fact is I once met this old wise man on a hill, never gave his Uncle Sam a damn dollar bill. I said, are you afraid to die? He says, son, now what you talking? I'll be coming back. That dog you're walking, there is only one thing in this world that you can count on. There's only one thing you can lay your money down on, and you can bet your life you find your home on the range. If you got a woman's got a mind to change.
So the range is really extraordinary. And how do you choose your projects? How do they come to you? Do they come to you and say, we want you for this project, or do you originate some of them? How do you work that?
It's pretty much the former. The phone rings based on reputation. One of the great things about film and television is everybody's freelance. So let's say editor, sound man, director, producer, writer are all on the same project. They'll be together for 6 months, and then they'll all go out and get other jobs, and if you did a good job for them, that's really how I get most of my work. As far as the band goes, we have a booking agent that fields offers and tries to keep us working as much as possible around my brother's schedule and my schedule.
Do they sometimes conflict? This must be a wild life.
Yeah, it's juggling is the key word. In 13 years we've had the band, we've only missed a job where it was, there was a problem because of my brother's schedule. Often if he gets a movie, he might be on it for 3 months, but he also can build in certain weekends off in the schedule if we do have jobs to do. So when you look forward, as most people in life, it seems completely hopeless. But somehow when you look back, you realize how much you've been able to accomplish and fit disparate pieces and time frames together, and somehow it all works out.
One of the extraordinary pieces that that I saw this weekend of your stuff was the Marsh Billings House piece. How was that presented to you? Did they have had they already shot the whole thing, or storyboarded, or what?
They had shot a lot of it, and this was one of my oldest clients, who had since died, named Charles Guggenheim, who's won, I don't know, 5 or 6 Academy Awards. He's just a giant in the documentary filmmaking world, and somebody who I learned an awful lot about music from, even though he doesn't know anything technically about music. And I put this piece often to show people because he was very specific about, it starts with a helicopter shot and how the house was revealed. This house was a historical house in Woodstock, Vermont, that was eventually owned by Lawrence Rockefeller and is now a part of the state federal park. But the way my first demo, I remember Charles saying to me, "You're flattening the picture." And I didn't know what he meant. And that's not really a musical term, "you're flattening the picture." What does that mean? And I had to really figure out what he meant by that. And what he meant by it is that I'm doing visually something and you're not supporting me with music.
Right.
And so you're taking my flat screen that I'm trying to make into 3-dimensional, and you're not helping me with that. So I had to go back 6 or 7 times before he was happy with the way it kind of sunk up. So I think it's kind of an interesting example of the dynamic between director and a composer.
Let's see it.
In 1807, Charles Marsh, a successful lawyer and businessman, built his house on a rise of land overlooking his town of Woodstock, Vermont.
Did you play the cello on that one?
No, I didn't. I play the cello for myself in my own studio, but in a studio setting when I have and that's not really an orchestra, it's kind of a chamber orchestra, probably 15 to 18 pieces, I don't remember. Then I hire a real cellist and who can handle the pressure of playing with a lot of people.
The other night downtown at the celebration for your award, you seemed to play the cello okay.
Well, that's my piece. I wouldn't want somebody to hand me a piece of music and play it on the cello. If I can play it myself internally, but if we're talking about handing pieces of music, I get a real cellist every time.
That was an extraordinary evening altogether.
Yeah, it was really memorable. I was very happy to be a part of it.
We heard a beautiful piece about the squid. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, my brother is an amazing songwriter. He writes songs about subjects that I can't imagine anyone writing songs about. I don't know if you remember, a couple of years ago, some Japanese scientists were interested in this giant squid called Architeuthis. And they sent down a hook way down, and they tried to bring him up, and one of his tentacles came off, and they got the tentacle, and when my brother read
disgusting.
Yeah, it was just a horrible feeling, and I think that he felt like, in one sense, the violation of this natural animal. He felt kind of like that with when paparazzi and people are coming after him, he sort of feels like the giant squid that people are trying to pull around. So I think that, songwriting is often taking an event that happened either like that, a public event or something in your life, and then putting a spin on it, putting a turn on it to see whether there's a song there that you can develop into a whole song and then play in front of other people and see if they can get it, can relate to it. And I think in this case, I even remember my brother talking about that it had something to do with my father. You know, when he was, before he died, he had sort of a difficult death and was really struggling. And I think that that's what made it a great song, not the fact of the squid. That was the impetus that then was enough of kind of an engine to push through my brother's psyche to come out with this, I think, a really remarkable song.
I wanted to thank you and our studio and home audiences for coming today, and we hope again that you join us again for Conversations Part 2 with Michael Bacon. You're going to play us out,
yep.
And the song you're going to sing is
Woman's
your
Got a Mind to
version
Change.
of...
Yeah, so this is my take on my brother's song.
Okay.
They say the only sure things in this life are death and taxes. Well, I don't agree, I beg to differ. Yeah, 'cause the fact is, I once met an old wise man on a hill who never gave Uncle Sam a $10 bill. I said, are you afraid to die? He said, son, what you talking? 'Cause I'll be coming back. Is that nothing wrong? 'Cause there is only one thing in this world that you can count on. There's only one thing you can lay your money down on. You can bet your life, your farm, your home on the range. If you got a woman got a mind to change. A woman got a mind to change. We had a fling, we had a thing, and she went back. She went right on back to Mr. Right. I cried some tears, I drank some beers, crawled in bed and shut out the light. And then I heard this key inside my door. Familiar footsteps just kind of moved across my floor. I said, baby, I thought that you said that we were through. She says, what can I say? I changed my mind. I'd rather be with you, 'cause there's only one thing in this world that you can count on. There's only one thing you can lay your money down on. You can bet your life, you farm, your home on the range.